Hi, folks. This is Don Meisner with the North Country Fishing Report. You know, one of the things that I don't think we can stress enough is the importance of safety when we go out fishing. And I've talked about this in another report, but one of the things that I really think I'd like to stress is the buddy system. The buddy system is so critical. Well, what do I mean? Every time you go fishing, if you're going to go ice fishing, if you could be with someone else, because if anything might happen to you out there on the ice, if the ice could disappear, you could fall through, you could have a heart attack. Anything can happen to people. And if there's someone there with you, then you have a much greater chance of getting help, even if the help comes from that person. But this is something I think a lot of times we take for granted. And I've talked to some of my closest friends that have had really close calls on the ice. One of them, the only reason that he was able to live, because he had been in the water, he'd been in the water too long. As a matter of fact, it's my friend Jigger Jim that helps me with so many shows. If somebody from a house far away hadn't seen him struggling out there in the ice, he would have never lived. And that becomes the case a lot of times. Now, if you go with somebody else, they can get help. They can do whatever. They can get a rope to you. They can try to pull you out. They can do all kinds of things that you wouldn't be able to do if you're on your own. And I know a lot of you listening, and probably I've been guilty of the same thing, is a lot of times we feel, yeah, that's not going to happen to us. That's not me. I'm real careful. I'm real safe. But you just never know. You really don't. You know, all the accidents that I've had in the outdoors, and I've had lots of them, I think it's inevitable if you spend so much of your time out there in the woods, along the streams, or out in the open water, that things are going to happen. But not one of them did I ever expect to happen. They all happen by accident. And there's been times where I've really been lucky to survive. And so I think if we can look at it a little bit differently, and we can understand that no matter what happens to others, could also happen to us. Remember that old saying, there for the grace of God go I. Well, that's the case in almost every endeavor in our life. So if you can remember this one thing I'm telling you today, that when you go and enjoy all the unbelievable opportunities we have here in the North Country, if you would only try to be with a buddy, with a friend. If it's a family member, that's wonderful too. But just try not to do it alone. And I'm probably the most guilty of all, because I love my aloneness when I'm out in the woods or on the water. But it's probably, at some point, going to be to my detriment. Until next time, folks, this is Don Meisner with the North Country Fishing Report.